In this thrilling adaptation of Val McDermid's best-selling book, humor, assurance, and charm are expertly woven together. It moves forward at a blazing clip as its young female detective takes on a cold case. Here are some things Karen Pirie gets right that so many police thrillers get wrong. First up, the dead girl trope. We've seen it a million times. A male detective with a furrowed brow poring over graphic crime scene photos of a dead woman's, often naked body. Or the persistent police officer goes to the crime scene and pulls back the cover or opens the body bag to reveal, you guessed it, a naked dead woman with bruises and scars. And if the TV show is bleak, our detective hero might even watch grimly as the medical examiner carefully, slowly opens up the female corpse to determine the cause of death. Welcome to Dead Girl TV, where women frequently pass away in our living rooms. The dead girl trope is best illustrated by characters like Alice Munro in The Fall, Laura Palmer in Twin Peaks, Holly Andrews in Endeavor, and the numerous women in Law & Order and Mindhunter. Female murder victims are viewed as little more than lifeless objects. If they are given any personality, it is typically that of a bad girl who partied too much or had multiple boyfriends, and therefore deserved to be found dead on a morgue slab. Consequently, it is gratifying that Karen Pirie, ITV's gripping new crime series, finally subverts this trope and approaches a woman's murder differently than most TV dramas. Next off, there is nobody to linger on in the autopsy. In the series' opening scenes, Rosie, Anna Russell Martin, a bartender in St. Andrews in 1996, is depicted as vibrant, joking, and laughing. Her murder is not shown after she leaves the bar, nor is it later in the series. When three male students discover her body on the grounds of St. Andrew's Cathedral, we only get a distant glimpse of her dressed body and a brief glimpse of her face. The only blood that is briefly visible is on her clothing, as well as the hands and clothing of the men who found her. The narrative then fast-forwards to the present day, 25 years later, where Detective Karen Pirie, Lauren Lyle, is tasked with reopening the cold case of Rosie's murder after a true crime podcast brings it back to people's attention. Fortunately, time has passed, and there is nobody to examine in an autopsy. Screenwriter Kenny also tried to concentrate on Rosie, the person, rather than fill the screen with images of the crime scene where she was killed. The main photo featured in the investigation was of Rosie when she was still alive. I tried to minimize the gore of what happens to her because you don't want to be exploitative or sensationalist, Kenny says. I also minimized what you see of what happens to Rosie. I tried to put the victim's experience in the mouths of the actresses, and it felt like it was the better way of approaching the story. Next up, we see characters as flesh and blood, not just murder victims. As Karen discovers more details about the night Rosie died, the action frequently cuts back to Rosie so that we never lose sight of the fact that she was a natural person and not just another murder victim. There's been a lot of criticism of crime shows over the years and the way they deal with female victims, and a lot of people just don't want to watch women being raped and killed on TV anymore, says Kenny. I completely understand that, but as I was writing the series, Sarah Everard went missing, and then throughout the year, several other tragic cases followed. I felt this bubbling anger in my chest at all times when I was writing because the subject matter in the book covered a similar area. Rosie, the victim, is just trying to get home, and she doesn't make it. I felt angry and could see how angry others felt too, so it was important that I approached this story properly and gave Rosie a voice. Next off, victims are given a voice. By utilizing the true crime podcast as a powerful narrative tool early on in the first episode, Kenny also succeeds in giving more actual female crime victims a voice. As Belle Richmond, Sex Education's Rocky Throckar, states in a podcast clip, Rosie's story needs to be told. 9 out of 10 murders are committed by men. 2 women a week are killed by a current or ex-partner, and 1 in 3 women will experience domestic abuse in their lifetime. Every woman I know has accepted that she should call a friend when she walks home at night, that she should have her keys ready between her knuckles. When are we going to admit that it's not enough? Women will continue to be killed off on screen, whether we like it or not, because so many women are victims of crime in real life, as this monologue also explains to the Karen Pirie audience. Here's hoping that if a woman is a victim in the upcoming crime drama, she will be portrayed as a person rather than an inanimate object or a nameless dead girl. Next up, what is the plot of the new series? The 25-year-old unsolved murder of young bartender Rosie Duff has no fresh evidence to support a review, but some woke millennials found a microphone, aka started a podcast, forcing the top brass of Fife's finest to defend themselves. The optics call for a young female lead detective as they assemble a team to revisit the case. Enter Karen Pirie, the title character of the Distant Echoes' most recent film adaptation by seasoned mystery author Val McDermid. For the past few weeks, the show has maintained a rapt viewership, with viewers eager to learn the killer's identity as well as how and why they committed the horrible murder. Next off, where was the show filmed? While viewers have been left engrossed by the ITV drama, they've also wondered where the series, which is set in the beautiful Scottish town of St. Andrews, was filmed. The university town northeast of Edinburgh in Scotland, which is known for its medieval bottle dungeon, and graduated Prince William and his wife Kate, Princess of Wales, did host filming for the 3-part series. When asked about what it was like to film in and around the historic town, lead actress Lauren Lyle revealed that they actually shot during the lockdown, so it was really empty, rather than bustling with students and tourists as it usually is. Scenes were shot at the town's cathedral, harbor, and university. Because Emmer Kelly, the producer and writer, included a 5-star hotel in the screenplay, we all had to stay there, which was incredibly fortunate for us. Every day at breakfast and supper, Emmer and I would talk about the character and the entire play while sharing ideas. It was a great pleasure. The universe of Karen Pirie, based on the best-selling book by crime author Val McDermid, was nevertheless brought to life by the production team using other areas of Scotland. Additionally, they filmed in Glasgow's Pens, Marketplace, Loch Lomond, and Kirkcaldy's DS Wharf. Lauren claimed that this allowed her to introduce her castmates unfamiliar with some of her native country's most breathtaking natural attractions. Next up, will Karen Pirie get a Season 2? Season 2 of Karen Pirie has yet to be approved. Still, executive producer Simon Heath noted that the entire cast and crew have our fingers firmly crossed. As the show's scriptwriter Emmer Kenny put it, it will ultimately depend on how well the audience responds to the first season. In a one-on-one interview with RadioTimes.com, Kenny stated that she was very keen to see what people respond to throughout the first season in order to learn what they appreciate about it and then sort of roll with that after it comes out. There is still plenty of time for a Season 2 official announcement, as Season 1 has only recently made its ITV premiere. It's difficult to pinpoint a specific release date for a second season on ITV when the show has been formally recommissioned. The earliest Season 2 may be released in a year in the fall of 2022. Next up, what would Karen Pirie Season 2 be about? A Darker Domain, the second book in Val McDermid's book series, will probably be the main subject of Karen Pirie Season 2. According to the book's description, a woman with her infant boy were abducted and held for ransom 25 years ago. Little Adam's fate has remained unknown since Katrina Grant passed away and her death. Cold case expert DI Karen Pirie is tasked with pursuing the lead after a new clue and graphic evidence of a recent murder are found in a delicate Tuscan villa. She's already working on a case from the same year. During the miners' strike of 1984, pit worker Mick Prentice vanished. Where did he really go? And is there a link to the Grant mystery? The truth is stranger and far darker than fiction. After all, giving your victim a voice, a personality, and a life on screen makes their death far more impactful than 100 gory corpse photos or a naked dead body could ever be. This is demonstrated in the compelling Karen Pirie. Have you watched the new thriller? What other things do you think Karen Pirie does better in her films? Make sure to let us know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.